Have you ever thought about Africa? What comes to mind? For many, it's a vast, single place, often misunderstood. But Africa isn't a country. It's a continent of over 50 nations, thousands of cultures, and a history deeper and more complex than any other. This is where humanity began. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey through time to uncover the epic, sprawling, and often untold story of the entire history of Africa. From the dawn of our species to the vibrant pulse of modern cities, let's explore the cradle of humankind. Our story begins millions of years ago, right here in Africa. In the Great Rift Valley, our earliest ancestors took their first steps. This is where humanity evolved. For hundreds of thousands of years, early humans like Homo habilis and Homo erectus roamed these lands, developing the first stone tools and mastering fire. This wasn't just a chapter in human history, it was the entire first book. Then, around 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens emerged. For millennia, these early modern humans lived as hunter-gatherers, their lives intricately woven with the rhythms of nature. They developed complex societies, created the world's first art on cave walls, and laid the foundations for everything that was to come. Around 10,000 BCE, a monumental shift occurred. As the Sahara once lush, green savanna began to dry. People migrated. Some moved south, while others settled along a lifeline in the desert, the Nile River. This is where one of the world's most magnificent ancient civilizations was born, Egypt. For nearly 3,000 years, the pharaohs ruled a powerful and sophisticated kingdom. They built pyramids that touched the sky, developed a system of writing, and made incredible advances in mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. But Egypt wasn't alone. To its south lay the kingdom of Kush, in modern-day Sudan. Kush was a formidable power in its own right, a major trading hub for gold, ivory, and iron. At one point, its rulers, the Black Pharaohs, even conquered and ruled all of Egypt. While Egypt and Kush flourished in the northeast, diverse societies were thriving all across the continent. In West Africa, the Nosy culture, in what is now Nigeria, began creating stunning terracotta sculptures around 1500 BCE, evidence of a highly organized society. This region was also the heart of a major agricultural revolution, with the independent domestication of crops like yams and soy. In North Africa, the city of Carthage, founded by Phoenician traders, grew into a mighty maritime empire, rivaling even Rome. Meanwhile, across the vast expanse of sub-Saharan Africa, one of the most significant migrations in human history was underway. The Bantu expansion, starting from West Central Africa around 3,000 years ago. Bantu-speaking peoples began a slow but steady migration, spreading across the southern half of the continent. They weren't conquerors in a military sense. They were farmers and iron workers. They brought with them their languages and their knowledge of agriculture and iron smelting. This technology was a game changer, allowing for more efficient farming, better tools, and the clearing of dense forests. This migration profoundly shaped the continent's linguistic and cultural landscape, laying the groundwork for many of the societies and kingdoms that would later emerge. Think of it as a slow-moving wave of innovation, transforming the continent from the inside out over centuries. As the first millennium CE dawned, powerful trading empires began to rise, fueled by Africa's immense natural wealth. In West Africa, the trans-Saharan trade routes became rivers of gold. Camel caravans, the ships of the desert, traversed the vast Sahara, connecting West Africa with North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. This trade gave rise to legendary empires. First came the Ghana Empire, which controlled the region's gold trade for centuries. It was so wealthy that its king was said to own a nugget of gold so large he could tether his horse to it. After Ghana's decline, the Mali Empire rose, even greater and more famous. The Mali Empire reached its zenith under Mansa Musa in the 14th century. His wealth, derived from gold and salt, was legendary. In fact, he is often considered the richest person in all of history. In 1324, he made a pilgrimage to Mecca, a hajj of such opulence that it literally changed the global economy. His caravan included tens of thousands of people and camels laden with gold. He spent so lavishly in cities like Cairo that he caused the price of gold to plummet for over a decade. But he was more than just rich. He was a patron of learning, transforming cities like Timbuktu into world-renowned centers of scholarship, with vast libraries and a bustling university. While West Africa was gleaming with gold, the eastern coast was buzzing with a different kind of trade. A string of vibrant city-states, known as the Swahili Coast, emerged. Cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar became cosmopolitan hubs in the Indian Ocean trade network. They connected Africa to Arabia, Persia, India, and even China. Dhows with their distinctive triangular sails filled the ports, carrying goods like ivory, gold, spices, and unfortunately, enslaved people. This fusion of cultures created a unique Swahili language and civilization, a beautiful blend of African, Arab, and Persian influences that is still vibrant today. Inland, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe rose, famous for its magnificent stone enclosures, including the Great Zimbabwe, a testament to a sophisticated and powerful society. The arrival of European ships in the 15th century marked a dramatic and devastating turning point. Initially seeking trade routes to Asia, Portuguese explorers began establishing trading posts along the African coast. At first, the trade was in gold, ivory, and spices. But soon, the demand for labor in the newly colonized Americas fueled the horrific transatlantic slave trade. For over 400 years, millions of Africans were forcibly captured, torn from their homes, and shipped across the Atlantic in brutal conditions. This wasn't just a loss of people. It was a catastrophic drain of skills, knowledge, and potential, causing immense social and political upheaval across the continent, the echoes of which are still felt today. By the late 19th century, European interest in Africa shifted from trade to outright conquest. At the Berlin Conference of 1884, with no Africans present, European powers carved up the continent among themselves. This scramble for Africa was swift and brutal. Within a few decades, nearly all of Africa was under colonial rule. The colonizers imposed new borders that ignored existing ethnic and cultural boundaries, exploited Africa's resources for their own benefit, and established systems of government designed to maintain control. But Africans did not submit passively. From Ethiopia's stunning victory over Italy at the Battle of Adwa, to countless other uprisings and resistance movements across the continent, the spirit of freedom was never extinguished. The fight for independence ignited across Africa after World War II. The continent was swept by a wave of nationalism, led by inspiring figures like Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya, and Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Ghana led the way, gaining independence in 1957. The 1960s became the year of Africa, with over a dozen nations declaring their freedom. The path was often difficult, marked by political struggles and economic challenges. Some nations fell into conflict, while others wrestled with the legacy of colonial borders. The fight against apartheid in South Africa became a global symbol of the struggle for justice and equality, culminating in Nelson Mandela's release and the birth of a new, democratic nation. Today, Africa is a continent of incredible dynamism and diversity. It's home to some of the world's fastest-growing economies and youngest populations. Cities like Lagos, Nairobi, and Johannesburg are bustling hubs of innovation, technology, and culture. From the vibrant movie industry of Nollywood to the global rhythms of Afrobeats, African creativity is influencing the world. Of course, challenges remain: political instability, economic inequality, and the impacts of climate change are all real. But the story of Africa is one of resilience, of immense human potential, and of a future that is being written right now by over 1 billion people. Africa's history is not just a part of our shared human story, it is the very foundation of it. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the history of Africa. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into our amazing world history. Let me know in the comments what part of African history you'd like to learn more about next. See you in the next video.